Hello, fellow preppers, YouTube. 'Tis I, the rumpled one. You know, I put out a video about the rich uncle and should the rich pay. And few people took it the wrong way. Not as I intended. But that's what happens. You know, you get a few people watching something and somebody might just misinterpret what you say. Somebody said basically that, oh, you got yours, screw everybody else. You know, that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I intended to say. Hopefully, maybe that was the first time that person ever saw my videos and they don't know any better. Because I would think that my subscribers know me a little bit better than that by now. I've been doing this for what? Most of this year? So I would think, you know, that's not my attitude. No. My attitude is that everybody needs to take personal responsibility. Now, there was one person who wrote in, said they were a Marine, and, you know, once again, I take my hat off to those who have served. I appreciate it. I respect you. But he said that after he got out, he was starting from scratch. And that if it wasn't for the government, he had a sick daughter, she might have died. Couldn't afford the hospital on his own, couldn't afford the medicine. Well, you see, what we're talking about there is compassion. And compassion sometimes goes against logic and reason. Because, see, compassion, that's personal. I mean, it's easy when you distance yourself from people to make decisions. It's a difference when they're right there in your face. But you have to understand something. Nobody has the right to take from another person. They just don't. Not in this country. That's not what it was based on. Because what you're saying is that you could walk into an auditorium. Say there's 1,000 people in there. And you go in there and you say, hey, I got a sick kid here. And I need each person to give me $100. So that can pay for the hospital bills, the operation, and the medicine, and recovery. Now, maybe some people would be more than happy to. They might even give you more. Some people go, hey, I don't know you. Why should I give you any money? You know, you're on your own. Now, they talk about, yeah, some good Christians and all that, and I understand that. But you see, compassion should be free choice. If a beggar comes up here, I can either say, oh, okay, yeah, I'll feed you, or I can get Mr. Remington and say, you better get off my property. I shouldn't be forced to feed that person. But you see, let's go back to that auditorium, and you go in there, and there's some people don't want to give money. And you go, well, give me $100, and they're like, no. You go, okay. So then you pick up your cell phone, or you make a motion, and a couple big guys come over with guns. They go, give them the money. Is that right? Well, you see, that's what the government's doing. They're the people that come over with the big guns, and they take the money. Because if I don't pay my property taxes, guess what happens? They come up the road with their guns, and they take my property. So, it's not that I'm saying, hey, I got mine, screw you. No, no, no. I'm saying that everybody has to take personal responsibility. And no one has the right to force somebody else to help them. If somebody wants to help them out of their own free will, that's okay. And I don't care what the circumstances are. Sure, nobody wants to see somebody else's kid die. But I'm not responsible. And I shouldn't be made responsible, neither should you. Now, you think that might be cold-hearted, cold-blooded? No. Because the thing is where does it end? I mean, you just take everything? Take everything from somebody? I mean, look at Bill Gates. Should we just take all but maybe what? $1 million? Let's take all his billions, leave him with $1 million, so think he can help people in hospitals. Well, Bill Gates just so happened to give away a lot of his money anyway. So maybe that's a bad example. But actually, that's a good example because that's free will. Nobody forced Bill to give the money away. He did it because he wanted to. And to me, that's the essence of it. So, I'm sorry that you had to go through that, especially after serving your country. And there are good Christians out there that would freely give. But there's also some good Christians who might not. Or there might be some good people of other religions who might not. Or just good people that don't even have religion that might not. It's just the way it is. But to force people, coerce them, meaning using force and the threat of violence to get them to pay for you and yours, that's not right. It's not right. I worked for what I have. I didn't take it from anybody. And I'm sure most people watching this video work for what they have. They didn't take it from anybody. And somebody else said the example, well, let's say there's this family, husband, wife, 4 kids. They pay their taxes. They're, they're living the American dream, or they're just getting by, but they're not taking anything from anyone, and then accident happens and the husband dies. Now here's this woman with 4 kids, and maybe she had a job that she can barely pay the rent or the mortgage, and doesn't really have enough money to actually feed the kids. What then? Well, it's a sad situation, but once again, compassion, charity shouldn't be forced. See, to me, once again, it gets back to personal responsibility. They made the decision to keep having kids. I didn't force them to have kids. That was their choice. Maybe they could have stopped after 1 or 2. But no, they decided 3 and 4. So, out of their choice, did she choose to have her husband have an accident and die? Of course not. But that's the luck of the draw. The thing is, though, all those decisions up until that point are now going to kick in and affect her. But the question is, does that give somebody the right to put a gun to my head or your head and say, help this woman, feed her kids? We don't want to see her kids starve. Nobody does. But it shouldn't be forced. Charity, compassion should not be forced. And to me, it's just that simple. And that's part of the problem. You see, if the government didn't take so much, then I think people would be more willing to give. And then they would give local. They would give to who needs it. As opposed to the resentment that's built in the system when you see these welfare mamas driving around in the, Chrysler 300s with the big old rims and the spinners, talking on cell phones, and using food stamps while they're walking around in 4-inch stiletto heels and who knows what else, using an iPod or iPad or something. I mean, not everybody does that, but there's enough of it that people resent it. And that's the whole problem with forced compassion, forced charity, is that there's going to be built-in resentment. So, I hope I've explained myself. I hope you understand. You don't have to agree. You can, you can call me names, greedy, whatever, cold-hearted, cold-blooded. But, see, I'm a logic and reason. Logic and reason. Thinking with the head. If somebody needs help and they're my friend, of course I help them. I give stuff to my friends all the time. But, they're not forcing me to. Sometimes my friends, oh, no, don't give me that. No. But it's like, no, here, take it. I got an extra. So that's my point. I hope you understand. Because so long as we have this idea that, the rich uncle, in this case, rich Uncle Sam, should be taking care of people or should pay the bill, this country ain't never going to get back on track. You know how I've gone on about how in the old days, growing up, my parents would have never, ever taken charity. They didn't need to. They worked. They worked for, they made a living. Luckily didn't have anything bad. I mean, my father had an accident once. He was laid up, but I guess he put away enough and had the right insurance to take care of himself and the family. Didn't rely on outside help. And that's what this country was built on. Individuals taking personal responsibility and not looking for a handout. Think about it. And once again, thanks for watching, thanks for listening, and thanks for your replies. I appreciate it. Even if you don't agree with what I have to say, and you state what you state your disagreement in a civilized manner, I read it, I think about it, I ponder it. Sometimes I learn something new. And once again, I thank you for that. So, I'd like to hear some more responses to this, but I guess in a way, maybe I'm a little closed-minded on this issue because it strikes too close to home. And, oh, by the way, you probably noticed I'm wearing the orange blaze cap because I was out in the woods. I shot that video and somebody said, hey, it's hunting season. You could have gotten shot by a poacher, and they're right. So got the orange blaze on, so thanks for that too. Well, hopefully this video isn't in the boring zone. I need to get back to doing what I was doing anyway. Got to prepare, because if I fail to prepare today, I'm preparing to fail tomorrow.